Welcome to the tutorial video of Swiss. Swiss is our Ableton instrument plugin developed on Max for Live. In order to use Swiss, you need to have Max for Live already installed onto your computer. If you don't have Max for Live already installed onto your computer, just head to the Ableton website where you can download a free trial or you could purchase it. So let's get started. Swiss has two oscillators with three sound waves. The first, a sine wave, second, a saw, and the third, a square. As mentioned earlier, Swiss is a polyphonic synthesizer, therefore you are able to play chords. Each oscillator has its own frequency modulation. Say for example, we have a square wave and we want to modulate the frequency. Let's try that with the sine wave. Say for example, we want to modulate oscillator 1 and want to have a square wave with no modulation on oscillator 2, we're able to achieve that. We are able to use both oscillators to create a specific type of sound. So say for example, we want oscillator 1 to have a square wave and oscillator 2 to have a sine wave. No modulation on oscillator 1 and no modulation on oscillator 2. But we would like the sine wave to have a longer attack. Let's reduce the volume of the square wave so we can hear the sine wave. Each oscillator has its very own reverb unit. You have a dry and wet signal, brightness of the reverb, and also the size of the reverb. Let's have a listen. With the reverbs, we are able to play a dry and wet signal at the same time. For example, we have a sine wave, and we would like to play both the wet and dry signal at the same time. We can play a sound from oscillator 1 listening to the wet signal of the reverb and also the dry signal of oscillator 2 with no reverb. Let's get some modulation happening to oscillator 1. Swiss has its very own white noise generator. It has an attack, decay, sustain and release knobs on it as well. You are able to create some effective white noise filters. On Swiss, you are also able to play the white noise with the oscillators. So let's have a sine wave on oscillator 1, a square wave on oscillator 2 with a bit of frequency modulation, and let's turn up a little bit of the noise. See what this brings out. Turn up the noise a little bit more. Let's filter it out a little bit. Bring up the attack. Bring down the release. And let's bring up the release of Oscillator 2. As mentioned before, Swiss isn't just a music making tool. You could also use it for sound design and also for your audio recordings. For example, a snare drum. Say you want to give a snare drum a bit more of an attack. We could use the noise generator. Let's turn it on and turn it all the way up. Give it a bit more of a quick attack. Let's increase the release a little bit. Leave the sustain and maybe bring down the decay a bit more. Let's see what that sounds like. As you can see, it gave it a bit more of a snap to a snare drum as well. Add that to a recorded snare and I'm pretty sure you'll have a nice big snare drum. What's also helpful about the Swiss is that you get this scope. So every time you make a noise, the waveforms come up. Let's turn on the sine wave of Oscillator 1 and have a look at what it does. As you can see, it gives you a really nice representation of the sine wave. Let's add more of a bit of a quick attack to it. Let's shorten the release. Swiss is a great little handy tool for your sound and audio productions. So I hope you enjoy it, and let's make some noise.